Hi everybody, welcome back. Part 2 of the log splitter rebuild. Engine's in, wired. If you watched the previous video, I started up, seems to run pretty good. Just literally a couple minutes ago finished installing the new pump and got the hoses hooked up. Now a lot of that's going to change as we redo the rest of the hydraulics. This is just the first run up just to see if it's even gonna hold. I have no clue. I haven't even tried it yet with the new pump. It's gonna take a second to prime itself, prime the system, I'm sure. I'm gonna just let it run on idle for a minute and then just see what happens. So, got the glasses on. I'm gonna put leather gloves on in case there's hydraulic fluid spraying, who knows. Kind of exciting. Kind of curious in the sump there. You have this cap on this sump, the fill port, but it's also the same tube that the fluid gets pumped back into, and it's on a T, which I don't like. And I'm curious if it's spraying too fast in there. Probably gonna end up redoing that anyway. Okay, let's try that again. I would say that's a success. I don't see anything leaking. Pump seems to be holding up in position just fine. Alright, chunk of ironwood. Fairly knotty. Dry checked, it's been sitting for quite a while. About 10 inches in diameter on average. Let's give it a shot. I'm gonna go get a big round of the maple that I'm trying to cut right now. I don't know if this stuff is tougher or not. So it was definitely way faster than with the 15.5 horse engine and a 16 gallon per minute pump on there. Seems to be about as strong. I guess PSI is PSI, right? Just the speed at which you do it. All right, I had a doozy of a day gathering all the components up. Stopped by the hydraulic shop, got all the hoses made up for the ReGen valve. He did not have time to get the hoses made up for the dump valve here, so that's probably going to end up being next week. We'll get it all plumbed up anyway without it. Got a new outlet pump hose going to the valve. We're going to replace that valve. Tell you what kind of day it is. I got this brand new valve, over $200 from my local store, and it didn't even have the frickin' connector clips, so it just took me the last 30 odd minutes just to rig up a handle system. Anyway, got a Y for this pipe here so that it doesn't splash up so much, and I'll plumb that in there. And I was able to find this fuel tank at a local shop, just a repair shop. They had it laying around, probably going in the trash, so we'll get that rigged up somewheres back in here-ish, maybe sticking off this way or something. First thing I'm going to do is rip all of this crud off of here, extend this plate out and over so that the new solenoid valve can go here, or control valve can go here, then the ReGen valve, and then the dump valve. Hey everybody, welcome back. Yesterday was a doozy. Stayed up till almost midnight out here in the barn getting this thing put together. I'm not entirely sure I like it yet, but let me take you through what we got accomplished yesterday. Remember, I am not a hydraulic expert. So we'll start with the engine. Mounted this baffle on here to keep the exhaust gases away from the fuel tank and the hydraulic hose that runs out from underneath. That's the high pressure line down there. The fuel tank I was able to mount on top of the stand that I built up here, or rails rather. Pretty solid. It had an actual fuel pump in it. I just disconnected the fuel pump and put a pickup line in there since the engine's got a fuel pump on it. I fixed the standpipe here, or the fill pipe. I took out the T and put a Y in, and that seems to work much better. I can actually even have this open during operation, and it's not spitting out. Got the fuel filter installed. Now for the valving. So we got the new selector valve installed, and we got the ReGen valve installed. Now the point of the ReGen valve, which I didn't understand this at first, but I get it now. The ReGen valve ports fluid to both the front and the back of the cylinder at the same time. And under hydraulic pressure, the back of the cylinder has more surface area pushing forward than this side does back here. So when we select the valve forward, it ports fluid out of this port here, the back side, into the valve. Then it comes out of the valve, going to, it splits between the front and the back. Kind of crazy, but that's the way it's supposed to work. Let me go over this one more time just to see. So the back feeds the front feeds the back. So we got the front going in here. Yeah. Okay, so when we select the valve forward, it takes fluid from this port, sends it down, goes into the T where it feeds both this side here, and then it also allows it to come out the C1 port and feed the front side. And when both sides of the cylinder have the same pressure, the back side has more surface area because the front side has the rod in place. It takes up some of the surface area. And that's supposed to help speed up the forward movement until it reaches pressure. Once it reaches pressure, there's a solenoid in here, a spring-loaded valve or something like that, that shuts off that front portion and just allows it to build pressure, I think. Then I left space back here to mount the dump valve. And the dump valve will be ported in both sides somehow or another, and we'll be getting to that this week. I did fire it up last night, and it seemed to labor a little bit, and I'm not sure why. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean off this drain plug, pop the drain plug, and I've got a couple 5-gallon buckets of fresh fluid. I'm gonna try to fill it up with clean, fresh fluid, and then grease up the skid here and see if that makes any real difference. And when I get to that point, I'll get the camera back on it and we can get to going. The other thing I added were these rails here. That way if there's a big log stuck on here, when I retract the cylinder, this angle iron here will catch the log and pop it off of the wedge. That way I don't have to beat on it with another log or a sledgehammer or something. Alright, got the old fluid drained out. Maybe 4.5 gallons, which just by the measurements of that tank, it should hold 11-ish gallons. The fluid that came out wasn't terrible. I don't know if it's 32 weight or not. I filled it up with almost 10 gallons of AWS or AW32, and it seems to be a little more not quite as thick, so we'll see. I'm going to wheel it out of the barn here, blow all the grinding dust off of it, and then we are going to fire this thing up, see how she does. Let's see. Nothing. Alright, so the camera shut off on me back there by the barn. I think the batteries died. Move the splitter out here by the wood pile. So far the only real issue is that it's overflowing a little bit, and I'm just going to see what happens. I don't know if it's just air in the system causing aeration and it overflows or what, but I got this pile here. I'm going to show you the wood pile too. The reason why I started all this, you know, the thing worked, it was just so slow, so I figured even if it took me a couple weeks to get it, you know, twice as fast, that it would be worth my time and effort, because what I'm about to show you here, this wood pile, is insane. So what we've split and stacked so far, got 11 pallets, and I stacked them with a lot of space in there, so there's not quite as much wood as there could be, but they're about 5 feet tall. Now the rest of the pile is enormous. Most of this was cut while it was still growing, you know, well, not growing, it had been knocked over, but it was still green, very, very green. That little pile right over on the opposite side of the splitter there was standing dead I took down from the property. Those logs over there, whole big old pile there, is still soaking wet on the inside. They haven't had any time to dry at all. Got my supervisor out here paying attention, making sure I'm working. So this stack here, about 8 foot long logs, lots and lots and lots of them. And then all of this, and then got a little bit more over here. So we got a lot of splitting to do, and if I can knock this time spent splitting down even by, you know, 20-30%, I think it's worth it. Do a quick demo here, and then that'll probably be the end of this part, and the next part will be the dump valve. I got this one monster log over here. I'm going to cut a couple of these ones, try it out. And I got about a 22 incher over there. It's probably 14 or so inches in diameter. We're going to see how she does. definitely needs more fluid capacity. And I'll probably do that when I do the dump valve. So that'll be the next one. But still, so far, this is amazing in comparison. Well, till next time, please check back. Please like, subscribe, and appreciate it. Y'all have a good one.